sometimes something well known and popular will have to go on basically a hiatus before reappearing later and becoming a well known and successful brand. This hiatus may last sometimes longer than others. They may have multiple hiatuses but with one big hiatus. But in those wilderness years, you'll get something that tries to reignite the brand, and sometimes it will succeed, sometimes it will fail. Today we're talking about one of the failures, one of the underloved failures. Now, I could be referring to the 1996 Doctor Who TV movie. Happy birthday Paul McGann, he's 65 today. Yeah, he looks good for 65. Or I could be referring to the Bugatti EB110 Supersport, a car which for a while Bugatti sort of didn't acknowledge. And as it turns out, this isn't a Doctor Who channel. So, the EB110, Bugatti's sort of way of sticking their nose in on all the other supercars from the 1990s. In fact, not just supercars, hypercars. This thing is very closely related underneath to the McLaren F1. Now, I would get into a McLaren F1 at this point, but it's been refunded recently. Rest in peace, real McLarens. It's actually a BMW. Underneath, that's a BMW Racing V12. 4 turbos. Very Bugatti. Well, apart from the tourbillon, but we'll wait and see how far that goes. This was made during the 1990s. Bugatti wasn't owned by Volkswagen then, because back in the 1920s and 30s, they were a really high prestige brand. You could get a luxury Bugatti in the form of the Royale, or you could get a sporty Bugatti in the form of the Type 57 SC Atlantic. Although you probably couldn't get either of these, since there was only 6 Royales and 4 SC Atlantics. And then Bugatti sort of faded into nothingness for quite a while, until this appeared back in the 1990s, trying to rekindle some light for the brand. Honestly, I don't get why people didn't like it. It's a very, very cool thing. You know, properly wedgy, like any 1990s car should be. It's got a wing. See, it's got a real wing. And, if you look at it closely... Hold on, let me respawn it. You get the horseshoe grille, which would become a Bugatti trademark in the years to come. First seen, most iconically seen on the Chiron and the Veyron. Unfortunately, just like the Doctor Who TV movie, it was ambitious, but rubbish. Well, not rubbish, actually, it turns out that in later years people think it's quite good, and I am absolutely one of those people. It was just underloved because it was too different. Old Bugattis were properly grandiose. This was distinctly uncouth. Not that I use that word much. And it flopped. So, it ended up actually making Bugatti bankrupt again. So they were bought out in 1998 by VW, who set to work making the Veyron. Or at least that's what Top Gear pronounced it as, it's actually the Veyron. And that's the end of that. Bugatti sort of treated it like that one thing that they prefer to forget. Only that's not the end of that. Because in the year of Bugatti's 110th birthday, see, EB110, 110th birthday, you see where I'm going? Which was 2021, possibly, or 2019. Bugatti decided to remake the EB110. Basically, they took a Chiron chassis, or at least 10 Chiron chassis, and stuck a new body on top of them. In fact, they made this, the 110. Would you like to have a guess what 110 translates to? Correct, 110. No, I don't speak, I think it's Italian. Yeah, it's Italian. Anyway, people really like the 110. There was only 10 of them, as I said. And that actually ended up rekindling a lot of love for the EB110, which had been missing for quite a while, unfortunately. And then that really was the end of that. the EB110 finally got its status as Bugatti's, let's just say, one of Bugatti's more interesting models. And was actually loved this time. EB110 values have shot through the roof. And everyone's happy. Whoop-de-doo. That's genuinely really it. You might be expecting me to add more onto it. Nope, that is all. A couple of weeks ago, I tested the fastest classic car in the game. In fact, the fastest car in the game. The Ferrari 250 GTO. Now, you would expect it's more of the same with this EB110, considering the fact that it does have a 6-litre V12 with 4 turbochargers. Wrong. I tested it against, a bunch of other cars, limited and non-limited this time. It was the slowest of them all. It was even beat out by an electric car, the Rimac Concept S. Now, electric cars are often really, really slow in this game, but somehow it was beaten by even an electric car. It was also defeated by things like the Mazda 787B. The 110, although you'd expect it of that one. It's genuinely stunning how slow this thing is. It's also really, really annoying because I've wanted this car in the game for so long now. And they've sort of made it terrible. I'm really annoyed. Genuinely really annoyed. Cornering, however, is, well, an entirely different kettle of fish and not necessarily a better one. I would say that it is quite good in the corners, or at least it would be if my phone was to actually work. You get quite a decent bit of front-end grip, while also not having a slidey back end, like a lot of cars I've been reviewing recently. It is grippy, just in general actually. But I think, actually, the general chassis feels nice. Suspension is supple, if a little bouncy. But, certainly not the worst thing I've driven. And just overall, it is really nice to send from bend to bend. It would be even better if you could get a nice little kick of acceleration out at the end of a corner, but, gotta make do and mend, I guess. I'm not complaining, to be honest. I hope that the brilliant chassis and, just brilliant handling in general will make up for its woeful performance on the straight on the circuit. Time to find out. It is, in fact, crunch time. Ignore the noise of a purring cat in the background if you can hear it. He's very noisy but very loving, so I can't exactly push him away. Right, into the corner. Corners are where this thing brings it back. So really what we need is basically an enormous one of those wire games. Nearly flipped it. Oh, I'm mucking this up so badly. Final right 90-degree corner. 30.61. Which I think if I check... Yep, it's the slowest time. Oh dear. So, what we've basically discovered is that this is the most brilliantly cool £20 million paperweight. So should you buy it? I mean, sure, it's a cool thing, but it's definitely a collector's item rather than being actually useful. It's... well... you know the term wedges of money? This is a wedge of money. Is wedges of money a real saying, or have I just made it up? I don't know. Anyway, either way, what we've discovered is that a car that I've been wanting in this game for so long now is absolutely terrible. So, on that terrible disappointment, for me, I will see you very soon. Throughout the week, actually, because there's a new season in CDT, plus a big update in Dealership Tycoon today. Oh, I'm gonna be busy, aren't I?